Ladies and gentlemen, we proudly present A Dutch Street by the Lex Jasper Quartet and Paul van Vliet. There are places that are sunny, there are places that are quaint, there are places that are funny, and a lot of them that ain't. But there's one place in your folder, only one that gets you here. It's the land of dyke and polder, of great virtues and good cheer. Come to Holland, come to Holland. It's as flat and as even as Twiggy and her teens. Come to Holland, come to Holland. It's so densely populated, you keep thinking of sardines. Come to Holland, come to Holland. Where the people all speak English fluently. Hear the story of our seagoing tradition. We're so crowded that we have to go to sea. See our red and ruddy faces. See the dimple in our chin. See our cows with so much milk that the people turn to gin. Feel the muscles on our women, all from pedaling their bikes. And see our fingers that are swollen, all from plugging up our dikes. Come to Holland, come to Holland. There's culture in the air, in the faces, in the names. Come to Holland, come to Holland. Where a lot of people look as if they ought to be in frames. Come to Holland, come to Holland. Where you still see Rembrandt's mother take a nap. When you go round the corner in a streetcar, a Rubens woman may fall plump into your lap. In this country of canals, you are not safe without a boat. Be as clever as the Dutch, wear wooden shoes to stay afloat. And be sure to make your memories as vivid as you can. Buy a souvenir from Holland, made in Hong Kong or Japan. Come to Holland, come to Holland, where it's heaven for the British to feel a London smog again. Come to Holland, yeah, come to Holland, where the masochists assemble to suffer from the rain. Come to Holland, come to Holland, where even the girl guides are gay. A fat land of milk and of honey, unless you forget to bring money. Where the hearts of the people are as big as the country is small. Come to Holland, come to Holland, but it may take one whole day to see it all. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul van Vliet. Paul is Paul. Van is not like Van, but Van like the Germans count. 1, 2, 3. And Vliet is what the British used to have before the Falkland War. So, Paul van Vliet. But what's in a name? Who said that? Shakespeare, very good. William Shakespeare. That's why I like to quote well-known authors. It makes the audience feel so intelligent. But Shakespeare was wrong. There is a lot in the name. The character of a nation can be found in the sound of the names of heads of state and prime ministers. Ronald Reagan.
Margaret Thatcher.
Helmut Kohl.
François Mitterrand et alors...
Andropopopopopov.
Le Bourse.
And in my passport it says Paul van Vliet cabaretier. Cabaretier, of course, it comes from the French word cabaret, which started, believe it or not, years and years before Liza Minnelli was born. Cabaret, traditional theater. In America, there were the golden days of vaudeville, in England, music hall. And we on the continent, we had cabaret, which has all but disappeared except here in Holland, because it's a small country of merchants and traders. We've always had to be very careful with our money. Careful. Some of our jealous neighbors say we are stingy, even miserly. For instance, the Belgians. The Belgians like to tell insulting jokes about us, and we like to tell insulting jokes about the Belgians, which isn't so nice for us because we understand the jokes. But we are not stingy. We are just very, very careful, which is why cabaret still thrives in Holland as a one-man show. So let's go Dutch. A Dutch street, the truth behind the dikes. And I intend to tell you tonight the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I was born and bred in The Hague, the seat of the government. Amsterdam's the capital, The Hague is the seat of the government. There's a world between both cities, 40 miles. So you see, we do not govern our country from the capital, and Amsterdam would be a bad place for a government anyway, because it's full of revolutionaries who'd love to overthrow the government. But you know, basically, they are lazy revolutionaries. They'd love to overthrow the government, but they don't want to walk 40 miles to do so. And they're all followers of Karl Marx, so they know that the state will wither away by itself, and they don't want to interfere with the process. You've heard of Karl Marx, of course. Karl Marx, who wrote that wonderful book about Amsterdam, the capital. Tell him, yeah, that is, yeah. Amsterdam is a city where it happens, and The Hague is a city where they try to stop it. You know, The Hague is an elderly lady. The Hague is too old to be gay, too old to be naughty, too old to be shady. The Hague is as wild as the YMCA. Filled to the brim with civil servants, too many for such a small country. Well, that's what we are, a small country, especially in the eyes of visitors from larger countries like Denmark, Belgium, and Luxembourg. Have you heard of the miniature town, Madurodam? Madurodam, the miniature town. We put it up because it makes the surrounding country look bigger. When the plans were drawn up for Madurodam, we knew that we had to have American know-how. So we found a New York firm, told them about a project of Madurodam. They sent over 2 engineers. They landed in Amsterdam, looked around and said, so, they've started without us. Small country. A small country. And on top of that, we're overpopulated. Do you know why swimming is a national sport in Holland? We have to take turns using the land. Have you seen people swimming during the day? That's a night shift. By the way, some of you may have noticed that I'm doing the show in English. But you know, the problem for a Dutchman is always what to speak. English English or American English. We learn English at school, that is to say, British English. But many of the Dutch people you meet speak American English due to the influence of American records, American movies, and McDonald's. And of course, American English is much easier for us. Take that well-known Sinatra hit. It's 2:45, no one in the place except you and me. So set 'em up, Joe. I got a little story you ought to know. Now, if this song had been written in English, it would go like, if I'm not mistaken, it's 2:45 precisely by my watch. The establishment is quite deserted, no one but you and I remain, so if it's not too much of an inconvenience, would you be so kind as to replenish my glass, Joseph? A curious thing has happened to me recently, and although I fully realize it's a very presumptuous imposition on my part, still I'd rather hope to be allowed the opportunity to discuss it with you at some length. You know, the very first English I ever learned was this highly dramatic poem. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here's my handle. and here's my spout. When the tea is ready, hear me shout. Lift me up and pour me out. Now, for years and years, this was the only English I knew. And you can imagine how difficult it is to work this into a normal conversation. One summer, a band friend of my sister came to stay with us, Anne Pulford, Colchester, Essex, England. And Anne was beautiful and I was 14. And every time I looked at her, I got goose pimples. So I knew I was in love. And one night I couldn't control myself any longer. I got out of bed, tiptoed across the hall, eased her door open, and there she lay. Anne Pulford, a girl of 13, bathed in moonlight. And there I stood, bathed in my father's aftershave. Anne, I'm a little teapot. Short and stout. Here's my handle. And just as I was getting to my spout, my father came in and kicked me out. Little girls with legs that go on growing, bodies that keep bumping into things, not exactly knowing where they're going, but somehow someone somewhere pulls the strings. Have to wear the hand-me-downs that sisters used to wear, have to live with mothers that want ribbons in their hair. Hate to go to summer camps, but daddies don't agree. So 80 little girls there are as lonely as can be. Girls of 13, not very happy. Girls of 13, just in between. Too old for the dolls, too old for the toys, too little for love, too young for the boys. Their pug noses still are too red and too shiny. The diary they keep to confide in are tiny. Tiny are most of the troubles they've seen. Girls of 13, just in between. Faces that are delicate and dreamy, hair that offers little hope for curls, feeling very feminine and special, want to stick together, just the girls. Giggling at movie stars, giggling at men, giggling at breakfast, still giggling at 10, giggling at each other and their own bewildering ways, giggling to pass the time until the better days. Girls of 13, not very happy. Girls of 13, just in between. Too old for the dolls, too old for the toys, too little for love, too young for the boys. Just halfway woman, just halfway in blue, a dress with a neckline, but plenty of room. Girls of 13, just in between, dreaming of the day they start life at 14. Now introducing Bob Johnson, a bicentennial pioneer, Philadelphia, USA. Not for him to see 22 countries in 14 days, $1,000 all-inclusive type of holiday. No, he wants to get the feel of Europe by himself. So with 1 wife, 2 children, 4 thermos flasks, 6 suitcases, 8 cartons of Lucky Strikes, 10 boxes of double bubble chewing gum, 12 family-sized packs of super soft toilet rolls, 14 bottles of assorted vitamins, and a 1-ear teddy bear, he arrives at Schiphol Airport, Amsterdam, on a rainy Tuesday morning in July, on a 2-hour late all-inclusive jet lag plus hangover charter flight. Exhausted yet eager to begin his first European adventure. Finally, through customs without losing anything or anyone, the Johnson family make their way to the Hertz counter, where accompanied by many highs, have a nice days and goodbyes. They're taken and bundled into a gleaming Peugeot 604 automatic, along with maps of absolutely everywhere and a free copy of Europe on $200 a day. Because their final destination is a little resort on the Spanish Gold Coast that costs a lot of money, where they are to join up with friends from back home in 3 days' time. Bob Johnson has pre-booked adjoining rooms at the Chapeau Rouge Hotel in Avalon. Avalon between Paris and Lyon. Avalon, their target for day 1 of their vacation. But the plane was 2 hours late, so now the schedule is changed from loose to tight. He knows that if he doesn't make it to the hotel before 8 p.m., the rooms will be auctioned off to the highest bidder. So sweating, tired, body toned, he slams the gears into reverse, and bang! 1 hour later, after many apologies, the race is on. And they're out of Amsterdam, heading south in a fantastic burst of energy, and shoo, there goes Belgium. And they're across the French border, moving faster than a speeding bullet. After seeing the outskirts of Paris 3 times and being stopped by the same cop twice, they are finally on their way to Avalon, and tension is mounting. It's 5 p.m. Bob and his wife have finally run out of threats and promises. Empty Coke cans are rattling around on the floor and in Bob's head. Pieces of comic books are flying like confetti everywhere, and the windows are covered with double bubbles that didn't make it. But Bob's not a quitter. Gritting his teeth, he stamps his foot down through the floor, and at 10 to 8, he's in Avalon. At 5 to 8, he's in the center. At 2 to 8, he sees a sign for the Chapeau Rouge Hotel. God, this is exciting. Will he make it, folks? Go, Bob, go. No, that's the wrong way. Yes, he's found it. He's swerving up the driveway, spraying gravel everywhere. Oh no, the car's out of control. Will he be all right? What the climax, ladies and gentlemen, what the climax. Yes, he is all right. He's climbing out of the car. He is on his feet, up the hotel steps, limping towards the desk, and with a final superhuman effort, he manages to hit the bell. Now wait for it. 1 minute to 8. He made it, folks. What a guy. Give him a big hand. Bob Johnson, what a guy. And with heaving chest and a triumphant smile on his face, he comes to attention, salutes the desk clerk, and blurts out the one French line he has been secretly practicing for over the last 3 months. Bonjour, monsieur. Je suis Jòhnson.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Bonjour, monsieur. Je suis Jòhnson.
Comment?
Bonjour, monsieur. Je suis Jòhnson. J'ai téléphoné pour chambres.
Chambre, je regrette infiniment, monsieur. Je suis complet, plus de chambre, complet.
Bonjour, monsieur. Je suis Jòhnson. J'ai téléphoné pour réserver.
Donc, vous avez réservé sur le nom de Jòhnson?
Oui, merci beaucoup, monsieur.
Un instant, s'il vous plaît. Quoi donc? Monsieur Jòhnson, il est déjà arrivé. Il est dans sa chambre.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur.
Non, monsieur Jòhnson est déjà arrivé. Il est dans sa chambre. On his room.
Oh, I'm not in my room. I'm here.
Oui, vous êtes là. Ne bougez pas.
Oh, excuse me, monsieur. Peut-être another Johnston. Autre Jòhnson.
Où ça, autre Johnston?
Well, in America, many Jòhnson.
Combien?
Well, beaucoup, monsieur. For instance, Lyndon B Johnson, président.
Vous êtes le président?
No, I'm not a president. Lyndon B Johnson, autrefois président, but he is dead. Boom.
Il est mort, votre président?
Yes, il est mort.
Ah, mes condoléances, monsieur.
No, you don't understand. It's already a long time ago. Il est mort 6 à 6 ans.
Il est mort à 6 ans? C'est bien jeune, hein? Sérieux?
Now listen, monsieur, you don't understand. In America, many Johnsons, also Johnson wax.
Tex?
Yeah, wax pour la voiture, wax.
Donc, vous avez la voiture ici?
Yes, we have the voiture, it's on the parking.
Écoutez, monsieur, le parking est strictement réservé pour ceux qui ont chambre à l'hôtel.
Yeah, but I have a chambre in hotel. Je suis Jòhnson, j'ai téléphoné pour réserver.
Monsieur, je suis complet. Room, Timonique, Mir, Full House, finito, complet.
Listen, monsieur, it's a bit difficult pour...
Ah, je comprends. Vous voulez le dîner, manger, dinner?
Non, nous mangeons déjà chez Jacques Brel.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Nous mangeons déjà chez Jacques Brel.
Faites attention, monsieur, faites attention. Jacques Brel, un chanteur formidable. Mais il est mort, Jacques Brel, il est mort.
Oui, oui, c'est la vie. Oh, excuse me, I mean the root restaurant, Jacques Borel.
Jacques Borel? Mais écoutez, monsieur, on ne mange pas chez Jacques Borel. C'est du snack. C'est très mauvais pour l'estomac.
Oui, mais nous mangeons vite.
C'est encore plus mauvais. Pour bien manger, il faut prendre son temps.
Yes, but nous, no temps être ici à 8 heures.
À 8 heures, et maintenant c'est 8h30, hein?
Yes, but we were here at 8 o'clock at 8 heures, et nous sommes très fatigants, and my wife is malade.
Naturellement, Jacques Borel.
And I'm also malade. My kids are malade too.
Donc, toute la famille est malade?
Yes, the whole family is malade.
Un instant, s'il vous plaît. Ah, bonsoir, ici Henri Dupont du Chapeau Rouge. Passez-moi le docteur Pouillac, s'il vous plaît. Merci. Ah, bonsoir, monsieur le docteur. Ici Henri Dupont du Chapeau Rouge. Oui, ça va très bien, je suis complet. Et vous? Ah, très bien. Écoutez, monsieur le docteur, il y a un Américain ici avec toute sa famille. Ils sont tous malades. Est-ce que vous auriez 4 lits à l'hôpital? Ça va? Quel nom? Un instant, s'il vous plaît. Jòhnson. Oui, il serait tout de suite. Merci. Bonsoir, monsieur le docteur. Bonsoir. Donc, j'ai réservé à l'hôpital 4 lits pour vous.
Well, merci beaucoup, monsieur.
Et l'hôpital, vous sortez du Chapeau Rouge à la rue Victor Hugo. La deuxième à droite, l'avenue de la Victoire. La deuxième à gauche, le boulevard Charles de Gaulle. Ensuite, la Grande Place, la place de la République. Vous traversez la place de la République. La deuxième à droite, l'avenue de la Liberté. La deuxième à gauche, le boulevard Napoléon. Ensuite, au rond-point, le rond-point du Camembert. Ensuite, une grande route, la route de France. Et tout au bout de cette route, vous voyez un grand bâtiment, l'hôpital, le Chapeau Blanc.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to be able to tell you that the Johnsons finally made it to the golden shores of the Spanish coast for 3 wonderful weeks of sand, sun, and sea. The sea, the Dutch, the sea. Eternally bound together in unending love, passion, fear, sometimes hatred. 1/3 of Holland is reclaimed from the sea, and she in her rage often reclaimed it from us. We sailed on her, we explored her, we fought with her. But we know deep in our hearts that we shall never conquer her. The sea spoke up that afternoon and said all will be over soon. So often I'm wondering if people know, she said, about the years of suffering and weariness I've had. There are days that I'm choked with the waste of the land. There are days that I feel that the end is at hand. That's what the sea said, and there's little use denying. She's slowly and inevitably dying. I know you have reports and white books, she said to me, predicting poisoned continents in a polluted sea. But all this writing on the wall will quickly disappear, for interested parties just don't want the world to hear. That's what the sea said, and she wasn't even trying to hide from me that she's slowly dying. I
used to feel so young at the arrival of the summer, with laughter on the beaches and children playing ball. But now I feel like warning all these unsuspecting people. Look out, coming too close may not be good for you at all. That's what the sea said, and she wasn't even crying, just slowly and inevitably dying. In November and December, I sometimes lose my temper, battering all the dikes, pounding every beach, beating at their doors in angry desperation, hoping against hope there will be someone I can reach. Hoping against hope just a few of them will hear and understand the reason for my anger and my fear. But no one hears, no one cares, they go on as before. And soon I will not fight this losing battle anymore. That's what the sea said, and she was no longer trying, just slowly and inevitably dying. The sea was still a while, and I was simply standing there, and I asked if there was something I could do. She thought about it for a moment, then she said, "When you return, please take some photographs of me, so you can show your children's children who I used to be." That's what the sea said, and there's little use denying. She slowly and inevitably died. That's what the sea said, and she wasn't even crying, just slowly and inevitably dying. That's what the sea said, and she was no longer trying, just slowly and inevitably dying. And when the sea's no longer trying, what that means is that the world itself is slowly dying.
Thank you, my friends. Thank you no more. After all, I'm not worthy. I'm only doing my duty as any other member of the European Parliament should gladly do, but fortunately doesn't. I'm not standing here before you because I'm a better man than you, nor am I standing here before you because I'm a wiser man than you. I'm standing here before you because windsurfers, comedians, and politicians do it standing up. Just let me say that I'm the bearer of good tidings from your parliament in Strasbourg. After spending 5 years and $50 million on an extensive survey, my subcommittee can now state definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, and in no uncertain terms, that humans throughout Europe are having more affairs now than ever before. And I'd like you to remember that your affairs are my affairs. Or as the French put it, les petits amis de mes amis sont mes petits amis. Roughly translated for the barbarians among you who don't understand the language of diplomacy, my friends' girlfriends are my girlfriends. That's why I'm proud of my countrymen for learning foreign languages. The advantage to human relations are obvious. After all, where's the satisfaction in telling a bloody foreigner to get stuffed if he doesn't understand you? Yes, there is a lot to be said for national pride. After all, where would we politicians be without it? The Belgians still have it, even though they've got to look it up in the dictionary. And take England, as we did. Several hundred years ago, a great country, very well known here. It's shown on Dutch television every night as the place where the bad weather comes from. And we have many historic ties too. We fought some great wars, didn't we? But afterwards we always kissed and made up. And that was always our victory. Because who likes to kiss people with a stiff upper lip? And then they had the Dutch king, remember? Yes, William III, very good. William III. It took us 3 Williams to get the British interested. And who shall remember those historic words, uttered full of fevered emotion, spoken as William first sunk foot in British bark? Potverdomme, wat is dit voor klotenland? And to the everlasting gratitude of the Dutch people, he gave England back, got on the Queen Mary, cast off, and sailed home to Holland on the Queen Elizabeth. And while we forget Germany, let's not forget France. Ah, France, the French cuisine. It may surprise you to learn, my friends, that I became an international gourmet long before I bought a chateau. Yes, as a politician, one learns that the eating habits of a nation relate directly to that nation's political outlook. For instance, in a South African cookbook, the first recipe begins, take 2 eggs, whites only. While the Russian cookbook begins, take 1 egg, but don't get caught. From Japan we read, kill a dead fish and eat it raw in a pre-warmed oven. American cookbooks are prefaced by the words, take the telephone and the yellow pages and order a take-out dinner. The Belgian cookbook has an introduction, first find the kitchen. A German cookbook tells you take as many eggs as you need to work an 18-hour day. Because they are hard-working people, the Germans. When you buy a new shirt in Germany, it comes with the sleeves already rolled up. Hard-working and successful too. In fact, Germany was so successful that we have 2 Germanys now. They have their finest hour when the 2 countries play soccer together. Germany never loses. But what we are fighting for is peace, not war. What we are fighting for is love and friendship. And Holland was the first country in the world to sign a treaty of commerce and amity with the young United States more than 200 years ago. And you will notice that in this treaty we have commerce first and amity comes next. Sometimes it must be hard being an American. Lots of jealous countries letting you down. But sometimes it must be great to be an American. You wake up in the morning and you know there is something nice, but what is it? Ah, yes, we still have relations with the Dutch. Yes, 200 years of love and friendship. 200 years, it's like marriage. And we found a secret to make the marriage last. We didn't live together. 200 years ago, we had John Adams here in Holland. We trained him, sent him back to the United States, and he became president. And then his son, John Quincy Adams, lived in Holland. We trained him, sent him back, and he became president of the United States. And that's the great thing about President Ronald Reagan. He did it without our help. Incredible man. His friends still can't believe it. They call him Dutch. It took some time, but you took it all right. Let me say this. What we are fighting for is a free world. A world where people do not know the word defeat. And I'm, of course, referring to the French who do not know the meaning of any English word. And inflation, we must fight inflation. Remember how we used to sing, 3 coins in a fountain. I ask you, my friends, what fountain could live on that today? In a fountain. And we must fight unemployment. And unemployment will only be solved when the unemployed simply go back to work. And energy, we must conserve energy and do it drastically. If necessary, close Canada for the winter. And saving energy is all the more important because it's also the key to birth control. Think of the Chinese. Already every fourth child born on earth is Chinese. No wonder people in Europe stop after having 3 children. And finally, at last, in conclusion and to sum up, let me leave you with this. The most burning question of today is, will God destroy us or will we beat him to it? In any case, we know that when the end comes, we shall all die singing. And why shall we all die singing? Because it's much easier to die singing than to die playing the piano.
I sometimes feel a stranger in the house I call my own. This body that I know belongs to me. And more it seems to be a house that I've outgrown. Another me that I don't want to see. I wander into rooms I didn't realize were mine. Through hallways I never knew were there. So many unfamiliar things I've never seen before. I wonder who has left them in my care. Where does it come from what I see? Where does it come from what I feel? This chill I feel surrounding me with fear. Why is this coldness in my heart? Why is this grayness in my mood? The sadness in the echoes that I hear. I sometimes feel a stranger in the house I call my own. This body that I know belongs to me. For suddenly it's gone, the only house I've ever known. The shadow of the hope that used to be. And lately I've been wondering what happened to those days of trusting and believing in myself. The heart and soul of yesterdays have gone their separate ways. my spirit gathers dust upon the shelf. Where is that house so full of hope? Where are the dreams I dare to dream? The vision that used to shine so clear. Where is that special inner light? Where? Now I'm lost inside the night. Where has it gone now that I need it here? I have to build it up again, the house I call my own, and make it once again belong to me. I wonder if you'd help me. I can do this all alone. You know so well the way it used to be. With you I'm not a stranger to the house that I once knew, this house that I no longer call my own. And with you there beside me, I could face a different view, and you could make this empty house a home.
Daggers buried in my breast, a vile crime that cannot be. Behold the murder of a king, and unfortunately that's me. It was my son who slayed with lust his father and provider, his face distorted with disgust, and I never liked him either. He chose his dagger with great care, he never do the wrong one. It went in here, came out there. It was a very long one. Sharp as iron ever cast. And believe me, I can tell, 'cause when in pain I clasped my breast, I cut my hand as well. The murder fled, his hollow laugh fair chilled me to the bone. And with the musty breath of death, he left me here alone. The scene in which I die begins, and for the author's sake, try not to cough until it's done. Please give a king a break. My forces fail, my vision clouds. I weaken while I'm walking. My faculties go one by one, but thank God I'm still talking. The author wanted to excel in telling of my fall. Full 15 pages just to die, and I'm gonna do them all. My eyes protrude, my cheeks are grey, I reach out for support. I groan as I am breathing in, and breathing out, I snort. I stagger to the other side. On legs that once were strong. Damn it! Here I go again. This rope is much too long. Each night I almost break my neck right on this very spot. The woman who designed this thing must have been smoking pot. But I go on, I fade away, I quote my last great books. Some people think this is the end. Let's go and get the coach. But no, knave, no, stay where you are. Don't dare go near that door. And now shut up. I'm booked to live at least 5 minutes more. Give me 5 minutes more. Only 5 minutes more. Let me stay, let me stay. Give me 5 minutes more. Only 5 minutes more. Let me stay, let me stay. Hey, you're on! My humble servants fill the room, approach and bend their knee. They sense this is a special night, and then the drinks are free. A man throws ashes on his head, a soldier bites his spike. A woman tears her clothes to rags. She knows that's what I like. I gather round, I bless them all, men, women of all ages. And rattling and gurgling, I speak my 15 pages. My breathing is getting heavier, my heartbeat getting slow. And yet the end is not in sight, 3 minutes still to go. We all know that this moment calls for great things to be said. And though I'll say them right on stage, I'd rather be in bed. But no great ruler, king or chief of whom we've ever heard would think of taking leave of life without a final word. A maxim to be learned by heart, a word for east and west. A saying that can be tattooed upon a sailor's chest. A final phrase, closing word, in Latin or in Greek. A message for the calendar, a motto for the week. And here's that piece of wisdom, make use of it somehow. Old soldiers never, never die. So join the army now. Stop! Stop! Stop, wait! Stop, wait! Don't let the lights go down! Hold fast, don't go away. There's something very personal that I forgot to say. There's a collection box out there. I draw to your attention, it's something that I have to do. My widow has no pension. Spectacle and ask for an encore, then as your humble servant, I'll gladly die once more. Ow!
So many things have not been said, so many words have not been spoken between us, you and I. We'd lie and wait for sleep to come and think of all we left undone between us, you and I. Times we should have talked it out when truth was hidden by the doubt and distance rode a roundabout between us, you and I. So many things have not been said, so many words have not been spoken, bottled up and sad to say, soothed and sweetly kissed away, left until another day between us, you and I. So many things have not been said, So many words have not been spoken between us, you and I. The memory hidden deep inside of silent passion we denied ourselves, both you and I. All the stones we left unturned, all the bridges that we burned, questions with no answers learned between us, you and I. So many things have not been said, so many words have not been spoken, thought about but never said, cancelled or postponed instead, waved aside and left for dead between us, you and I. Bottled up and said to say, soothed and sweetly kissed away, left until another day between us, you and I. Times we should have talked it out when truth was hidden by the doubt, and distance rode a roundabout between us, you and I. All the stones we left unturned, questions with no answers learned, all the bridges that we burned between us, you and I. Thought about but never said, cancelled or postponed instead, waved aside and left for dead between us, you and I.
This was a Dutch Street by Paul van Vliet and the Lex Jasper Quartet. So many things have not been said, so many words have not been spoken, but the show is over, time is up. I hope we meet again, somehow, sometime, somewhere in the 80s. We had the roaring 20s, remember? The threatening 30s, the fighting 40s, the frantic 50s, the swinging 60s, and then the 70s. But we still have time to do something about the 80s, right? So I drink to the people who challenge life mountains, who celebrate time with the wind in their face. I drink to the people who drink from life's fountains, shining with hope like a child full of grace. I drink to the people who never play safe, who begin things without knowing how they will end. I drink to the people whose joy is a race and who don't give a damn what's around the next bend. I drink to the people who never go under, who never slow down or run out of steam. I drink to the people who always push forward past the horizon to follow a dream. I drink to the people who faced with tomorrow regarded a victory easy to win. I drink to the people who face the impossible, make their mark and simply begin. Thank you, good night and goodbye. God bless you. After all, that's his job.